there guys, today we're joined by Avisha Patel, founder of the incredible non-profit organisation FriendsLine. A few years into her journey now, we're going to dive into how she started, a few of the great projects underway, and what she's looking to do to take the project forward. We actually were good friends at university, lost touch, and when we reconnected a few months ago, I realised I needed to get her into the show. So welcome Avisha, how are you getting on today?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good. No, always a pleasure, always a pleasure. So, alright, so let's get straight into it. Let's first get to know a little bit more about what FriendsLine is, what you guys do, and just take us through.
Okay, great. So FriendsLine is a non-profit organisation. We provide mental health seminars to women and girls in developing countries. So the way we work is we pre-record yoga and mindfulness seminars in the UK. We then connect with local charities. Currently we're working in Dharamshala in North India and Rajasthan, also North India. So we're working in 3 schools in Rajasthan.
Wow, okay.
So we connect with the local charities and then we fund a projector, internet connection, yoga mats, incense, anything to kind of facilitate the room.
Okay.
And then we send over our seminars that we've recorded via our network of yoga teachers in the UK. And they come together however often they can, mostly once a week, and they participate in the mental health seminars.
Okay, wow. So these are pre-recorded rather than like a live?
Yeah, no, they're not live, they're pre-recorded, and we work specifically with women and girls from more disadvantaged circumstances. So in Nepal, we've worked with girls that have been subject to trafficking and sexual exploitation.
Okay.
And not necessarily actually all the time, they don't have to be subject to some kind of circumstance, but they do tend to be from very low income areas. So yeah, in Rajasthan we work in 3 schools from a very poor rural village, and I think especially in these areas there's no such thing as mental health support, so we're bringing something which they have zero access to.
And even, I know you mentioned that you provide them with the internet connection.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that they're lacking at the moment in terms of their areas, or?
Yeah, I mean, like it depends where. I guess also the internet connection is very on and off in a lot of these places, so we kind of provide maybe a booster to improve the connection. But the good thing is that they're all pre-recorded, so they tend to download the seminars as well, but we basically put them all up onto our YouTube channel, so they can just pick whichever they want for that day.
So if they wanted to, they could actually watch them at home as well, if they were not able to make it to the sessions.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how do you go about finding your network of women and girls in these respective areas?
So we tend to, we kind of do an evaluation, we do a risk assessment, and I go out to, the first stage is to basically research charities working in certain areas. We kind of narrow it down to ones that are specifically working with women and girls or are able to source women and girls that could benefit from our seminars.
Yeah.
So normal research online, how anyone would, but then I go out to the country and then I kind of do a risk assessment at the local places. And I kind of assess whether they were the type of organisation that will work well with us, and also the health and safety aspect as well for the women and the girls.
Okay. And in terms of, I know you mentioned it's a mental health sort of targeted organisation.
Yeah. These
charities that you're working with,
yeah,
they must be working with a number of different women and girls across different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Is it then a selective process of who needs it most, or is it just open to anyone?
Yeah, it's open to anyone and everyone really, and like I said, we are a women's empowerment charity, so it is only welcome for women and girls, and that's the only criteria, but there's no other criteria literally, because I think for them to be able to just come to a seminar where they can come to a place, a room, which is where they can just focus on themselves. Like a lot of the beneficiaries we work with, they have zero time for self-love, they have zero time for anything but work or school if they're lucky. So we're kind of bringing them a space where they can focus on their mental well-being, which is something they have no access to.
And just get away from everything.
Get away from everything and anything. Like, yeah, I think we don't realise how lucky we are to be able to just say, like, we need some me time. Like,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as me time in these places.
Of course. And I know that you said that you're targeted to the women and girls
Yeah.
rather than just being open to everyone. Is that mainly to give them a space then to get away from, I guess, things that may be going on in their homes and difficulties that they may be facing?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously, so FriendsLine is we're aiming to improve gender inequality, and we are focusing on mental health to do that. So we can appreciate how much less opportunities women and girls have.
Yeah.
So for that reason, mental health isn't just mental health, it's about economic development, productivity, just well-being of families. So for all those things which women and girls don't generally have as much opportunity for, we're kind of bringing them something which can lead to that ripple effect.
Yeah, so creating a solution for what their problem is right now, but a long-term solution, so then it doesn't have a recurring effect.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's just a ripple effect. Like when someone's mental health is better, they're so much more productive at work.
Yeah.
They feel good about themselves, and it's been proven that economic development in a country increases. Like, so there's a lot of stats behind it.
So what brought you to the actual initial idea of FriendsLine? I know you've been going on for a few years now, so...
Yeah, and so FriendsLine initially started because I just felt that the amount of kind of travelling I did and the amount of women and girls that I met where I wanted to do something back home and I couldn't. Like, you meet people, especially when you've done voluntary work, you do it for like a month and then you come back and then you're just like lost in life again. So I just wanted to do something which I could connect and really make some kind of impact consistently, long term.
Yeah.
So it was a matter of just using what we have at our fingertips, technology, and providing that to the most kind of rural villages and places, and being able to work on a problem which isn't seen as a problem. Mental health is not seen as a problem in the areas that we work. So facilitating.
And these places that you are supporting now, I'm not even going to try and pronounce what they are because I've slightly forgotten. I think it's Dharamsala.
Dharamsala,
yeah,
and Rajasthan,
okay, so, and Rajasthan. So how did you select the regions that you were going to support?
So Dharamshala, I actually I worked with an organisation called CORD, Chinmaya Organisation for Rural Development.
Okay.
And back when I was in sixth form, so when I was 18, I did some voluntary work out there. So I was very accustomed to the organisation. I had some, we had some kind of connections in the organisation already.
And you've been in touch?
Yeah, we've been in touch since we obviously had been there. But you'll be surprised, like, it's just a matter of really doing your research, seeing the areas which do require the most help or have the least access to what you're trying to provide.
Yeah.
And then just literally seeing what organisations you can connect with. And obviously, especially in the non-profit sector, everyone's working the same kind of, everyone's fighting the same battle. So any organisation would be more than kind of keen to talk to you about how you can obviously help the beneficiaries that are working with even more.
Of course,
So
as long as you can provide them with something that will actually help them in some way, they're more than welcome.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So I don't think I didn't pick Dharamshala and Rajasthan for any particular reason other than there were some great organisations already working in the area that I could connect with.
Yeah. And I think what is probably logical is once you've got those, then you've got like a pilot that you can start to
exactly.
use that as and then roll it out to other areas.
For sure, and that's the plan. Like, we're working on a kind of evaluation framework and board. We can inform the public, people like you, people like everyone, about what a difference we've made. So we assess if there's been a reduction in depression and anxiety. For the young girls we work with, we assess whether there's been an increase in empathy, lots of qualitative factors basically which define mental health. So I think for me it's producing some really solid reports out of what we do and the difference it's making, and then from there we're able to really bring it to other charities in other countries, as
Okay.
I mentioned.
And I think we were talking about this earlier as well. I think that's so important to have something where you can actually translate that benefit to society,
Yeah,
especially as you move forward into different regions.
Yeah.
Funding is going to be overly important to back projects and different
exactly.
areas.
Yeah,
But potentially this has got something that you can actually roll out to anywhere in the world. It doesn't even need to necessarily be countries in impoverished areas
no,
or
yeah.
whatever it might be. It
Yeah.
can be even local to us as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like we do focus on developing countries. That is our kind of target market.
Yeah.
So at present we're kind of hoping to roll it out to as many rural regions as we can possible over the next 5 years.
Okay.
I think also it's just changing the dialogue of mental health in these developing countries, because people focus so much, especially in the non-profit sector in these countries. There's a lot of focus on physical health, obviously, tackling diseases and
More evidence stuff like
more evidential.
visual.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think it's also just bringing a difference in bringing a change to the narrative there as well. And there's not many organisations like us which are trying to change that narrative. So I really want to see a difference in these countries.
And in terms of the feedback from the women, because how many women are you actually supporting, or have you supported through this journey so far?
Yeah, so our seminars have reached about 560 women.
Wow. Okay.
And which is really great, but obviously we've got a super long way to go.
Yeah.
But that's also the beauty of what we do, is that however many women can attend, everyone's welcome from the community.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And in terms of their feedback so far, have they actually explicitly kind of showed what has happened to them moving forward off the back of going to these seminars?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, like a part of what we get to do is obviously doing focus groups with the women after a few seminars and just really assessing, getting feedback from them to see has it made a difference, and anything that they don't find as beneficial. I think it's also important we're not the ones to say this is working, this is not working. The only people that can tell us is the people you're obviously providing the service to.
Of course.
So, and we've received really positive feedback. I think the fact that they demanding more seminars more frequently kind of speaks for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then ideally, what is the frequency that you'd want to hit in terms of these seminars? Because you've got 20, I believe you said 20 seminars that have been created.
Yeah.
Is it something that you'd want to have an ongoing weekly seminar that they can basically attend through the year? Or?
So the seminars that we've created are all recyclable.
Okay.
So it's like any normal person that goes to like a gym class or a yoga class. You're not going to have a different one every time.
Right. Yeah.
So our yoga, mindfulness and mental health seminars are just recycled and throughout the year basically. And we obviously are working on improving and creating new ones, but that's also the reason why it is so scalable, because they can watch it as often as they like in a week. In the schools in Rajasthan, we're currently showing it seminars are twice a week.
Okay, wow.
In 3 places, and in...
So these are young girls then that are being targeted as well? Wow.
Yeah, for sure. So young girls between the age of 11 to 16 and that come together for the seminars, and they're the ones actually requesting it more often.
Really?
So that's really nice to hear and see. And in our other partner organisation, they're much more older women, so the frequency is less because I think they get tired more, they're working more, the geographical location that the centre's at is a little bit further than the community space. So also other factors play a part, but...
So you mentioned there, so you're covering basically women from up to whatever age.
Yeah,
up
to the
like
age
80.
Yeah, I think our oldest woman's probably about 70. So
70 years old.
Between our youngest range from about 11 years old to 70.
11 to 70.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And do you find that certain communities take away a lot more than others in terms of the younger population?
Yeah.
Obviously, they've they might not have dealt with the same issues that the older generation
Yeah,
might not
for
have.
sure, definitely.
But I guess it gears them up for some things to come.
Yeah, so we tweak our seminars as well. So we've created a batch of seminars for older women, and we've created a batch of seminars for adolescent girls. So based on the feedback we get from our mental health professionals in the UK, we kind of differentiate between the older demographic and the younger demographic to make sure they have maximum impact.
Okay, perfect. And in terms of, so you've clearly got a plan moving forward.
Yeah.
Have you got people working with you at the moment?
Yeah, we have a
internally?
great team. Yeah, for sure. I have an amazing team. There's me, and then I have 2 other trustees, Avisha Patel and Sabrita Grau, and 2 other interns we have, which are just incredible. Awesome.
Okay. And was it hard to find sort of ways of working together and different people that would be involved in the project, like just to actually come together as a team?
Yeah.
I find like you need, especially with a charity, you need people that really are behind the cause.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Because obviously there's no monetary
No.
incentive for them
No.
at this point in time.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges. Like, you have to find people that really believe in your mission.
Yeah.
And people do get excited at the beginning. They get an initial excitement. They want to be involved. But then it's a matter of who can really consistently play out. Like, you have to, if you don't believe it from the start, in your heart, then it's hard to get people that will really deliver. But luckily, got a great team, so it's good.
I read recently, or might have been even a couple of days ago,
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
that you've signed on someone as an ambassador for FriendsLine.
Yes, very
Tell us a little bit more about who it is and,
sure.
what their background is.
Yeah, so I think anyone working in a non-profit or starting a business will know that one of the key things you want to do is raise awareness. And one of the ways you can do that is by acquiring an ambassador or kind of getting a public figure to talk about you, repost about you, etc., etc. So I spend so much of my time trying to tag people and sending them messages,
Just floating around
literally
people's
just
inboxes.
talk about FriendsLine. And I never get a response ever. I think I've probably sent messages and tagged 200-300 people, public figures, no response. But finally had a response from someone, and this guy called Nick Brax. He's a Australian mental health advocate.
Okay, wow.
He's a model. He's started 3 apps. He's a social entrepreneur, so he's got a really solid base, especially in mental health space. So he responded, and one chat led to another chat, and he was really excited and really keen to become an ambassador for us.
Amazing.
So
So it's literally the perfect sort of candidate.
The perfect candidate, yeah, for sure. And also he was on Neighbours, and I've always been a massive Neighbours fan, so that was a double bonus for me.
What was his name in Neighbours? Is this
Brennan.
back in the day?
No, this is quite recently, I think, yeah.
Are you still watching it?
Yeah, every day I'm a Neighbours fan.
I remember my mum used to watch that.
I know.
Back in the day, and we used to come home and mum used to have it on.
Yeah, I know. It's not really something I should say in public.
That was
but...
years of my life wasted. Nothing against Neighbours, but
yeah.
anyway.
I'm still a loyal fan.
Love it. And in terms of what is the main purpose of that now, is it literally just he's going to be working with you for different projects and promoting?
Yeah, he'll be working with us to raise awareness, promote FriendsLine, and he'll also be providing mental health hacks for the FriendsLine audience and his audience. So I think it would be cool to get someone who's also, the issue's very dear to him. So it's basically just trying to, bring more awareness.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Obviously you've touched there on something that's quite interesting. You had to hit 200-300 people before you even got some contact back. And naturally it would be very difficult if there's no monetary benefit to someone. People are often very busy to fit that into their lives. Can you take us through a few other problems that you've had in your journey of setting this up over the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's been countless issues, countless obstacles, challenges, as anyone would know. But I guess the biggest challenge is probably persistence, like maintaining that persistence when things aren't going the way you want them to go.
Yeah.
For us specifically, it was just seeing that tangible difference. And we create our own programs, we create our own seminars, so things aren't going to work from the first take.
And these are connections that perhaps you didn't even have before, right? So like developing these yoga
mindfulness
tutorials or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Those had to be freshly created by people
course.
that you had no connection with.
Yeah, definitely. You have to reach out to people, you have to make them believe what you're doing, and you also have to, I think, the biggest thing is just like having that positive response. And when you don't have a positive response, how do you still persevere? Like when you're not hearing really good feedback, how do you be like, okay, I need to stop now, I need to just reflect, I need to sit back and just say, okay, this is not working, what can I do? Like, how do you create a fresh brain sometimes?
Yeah.
That's been a
What's helped you in those difficult times?
What's helped me in those difficult times? I think just learning and rebooting yourself, finding a way to reboot yourself, whether that's learning about something completely different. Sometimes you get so lost in stuff, you get especially when, like you said, you're starting out with something, your focus is just on that, you forget about everything else around you.
Yeah.
And that can sometimes be a bit of a problem because you lose sight of what you're trying to do, and then you don't realise when it's time to just give up on something and find something else to refocus on.
Yeah.
So just learning, whether it's YouTube, whether it's tutorials, whether it's other seminars, whether it's going to conferences, networking, meeting people who can just rebounce your ideas.
So is that at one point that if the views are to take something away from this conversation today, is it that point of continuous learning?
It would be, continuous learning and perseverance for sure. Continuous learning is my key. There's been multiple times where I've just, gone to a conference or gone to a networking event, and it re-inspires you. So, and the second point of just persistence, as cliche as it sounds, just to never ever stop or try.
Yeah. And based off of that, what would you recommend to anyone that wants to get into the charity sector or just create a project of their own? It might not even necessarily be a long-term charity organisation, but what would you recommend to anyone that wants to get into this area?
It would probably be to have a plan and to do your research. I think that I wasted a lot of time plodding along and not actually having a strategy, not having done enough research behind it, and just going in, running before I could even walk.
Yeah.
And that probably longed out things a bit too much at some points. So if you're starting something from scratch, do your research, create a strategy, create a plan, and really see it from an eagle's eye view. And then if you still think that you can,
so map your route out before you start to
turn the car around. Know where you're going before going at it.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing that I think the viewers need to understand is that you're also managing a 9-to-5 job alongside running this charitable organisation. How have you found doing that, managing the two together?
It's hard. It is really hard for sure. I think FriendsLine's a charity, so there's always been a part of me which knows that that I do have to work, kind of thing. So I don't want to take any money from FriendsLine, especially at this stage when we're so early on.
Yeah.
But I do have a strong interest in what I do in my career as well.
It might be worth touching a little bit more about what you do as well.
Sure,
just to give a bit of background.
So I work in risk and at a private equity house. That's my day job.
Okay, cool.
And
very different to the charity side.
Yes, very, very, very different. But so a couple of years ago, I went to the States and I did a course in sustainable finance.
Okay, well.
And I kind of found my love for impact investing from them, which it does kind of relate to FriendsLine actually, because I think impact investing is obviously about collaborating the private and the public sector, and being able to do social good whilst making financial returns.
Yeah. And how long were you out there for in the States?
I was out there for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay, wow. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
so about 4 or 5 weeks. And
I think the point that she's forgetting to tell us, it was Harvard as well.
yes, yes, it
So
was.
it's not even just going out there, just a few
Yeah.
weeks in the States.
Yeah.
It was Harvard, guys.
Yeah, so that was really, I learned a lot there.
Yeah.
And I came back then realising that I could work in finance, I could work in a field which is completely different to where my heart is with FriendsLine, but I could still actually do something which is highly stimulating to me at the same time.
And that allows you, I guess, to use that money
Yeah.
and pump it into FriendsLine to allow you to
Yeah,
live
for
your
sure.
life as well.
Yeah,
while you're
so
doing the
I
business.
guess I would never want to take money from FriendsLine, and maybe one day if we grow really big, which I hope we will, maybe then it could become a full-time job. But at this stage, I think if you can find something that you're passionate about and start it as a side kick, and whilst it is completely possible to work in a full-time job and really try to work at something, because sometimes, I'm not saying that, like, I believe in taking risks and, you know, sometimes putting away something that you're not passionate or you don't love, and just like the way you've done, like, you know, focusing on your business and really like putting your all into that. But I also think there is a different side, and people, sometimes you do have to be realistic, especially for people in the non-profit sector. You have to find a job which, I'm not saying stay in something which makes you depressed, but you can find something that is equally as enjoyable, but just in a different sense.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. You need to find a way of living still.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you can want to help as many people
Yeah.
as you can,
Yeah.
but at the same time, to do so, you need to look after yourself.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Like, you can only help other people if you look after yourself.
Yeah.
But I guess my point's not even that. It's more just at the beginning, like, it's okay to work hard and to work in a 9-to-5 job whilst you're trying to grow something. Like, it's possible. You just need to believe in that service you're trying to grow.
I think that's something a lot of people I've come across really struggle with in terms of managing the two, because obviously 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 9 to 8, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
and then coming home to then work on a particular project. A lot of people struggle with that concept of doing that.
Yeah.
What would be the advice that you'd give to those people?
I guess there's no advice really. It's just you yourself just not being lazy. Like, you just have to want to come home and not sit and watch TV. You have to be able to sit, shower, get back in the office, get back on the desk, and do what you're trying to do as a side passion, and then it will become a passion full time. But you have to be able to put in that effort. Like,
Do you think the driving factor is if you care enough about that second thing?
Yeah, of course, definitely. It's all, and I guess you know in your heart whether you do care enough, because you would be stimulated enough to just be like, okay, no, I'm not going to sit for a couple of hours now. I'm going to do an hour of this, and then I can sit, kind of thing. You have to have that will, that drive, that push to be able to be different to what you would be like if you were just working that 9 to 5.
Yeah, I often found, especially when I was doing a few things in the past, coming home would always be the boundary.
Yeah.
Where if I crossed that, I knew that I was going to chill out. So I tried to delay that.
Yeah.
So staying back after work and doing various activities. Is that similar to you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just, I guess it varies on the day that you're having. Like, everyone has days where they want to come home and they just need that chill out time, and that's fine. But I guess it's just prioritizing your time, just being like, okay, there's 7 days in a week, 4 of those days I'm going to put to going straight to the library or going to find a working space, going to a coffee shop, working that extra 2 or 3 hours after work, and then going home. And then those other 3 days of the week, you go home and you just chill out, like, and that's fine. But at least you're being productive and you're still having your own time.
You're moving it forward.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
And I often think that a lot of the time people have been, I think it's a bit controversial, but people have been forced into a mindset of thinking the weekend is literally to do nothing.
Yeah.
But there's potentially 2 days that you could fully utilise for doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think those are the days where you can really get ahead of where you would be if you just used evenings.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also it just depends on, like, I never wanted to be the type of person that lived for Friday and lived for the end of the week and then just used the weekend. And so I guess for me personally, it's just a matter of making the most of every day. And if you always think that it's 5 days away, then your life will just pass you by. So I think if you can make most of those evenings and then feel satisfied at the end of the day, like even if you're working something that does make you depressed 9 to 5, if you work that hour in the evening that gives you kicks, you go to bed feeling so much better than if you just hadn't done anything.
And I think obviously a lot of people are going through that phase of not enjoying work. And typically it's easy to get into a rut and just go into a cycle of not doing anything else. But what people have to really remember is that the only way out of that potentially is by doing something else. And then that could potentially take you out of your current scenario completely.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And I think like it is hard because I think especially with social media these days, like everyone looks like they're having the time of their life. They look like they're doing something useful, like they're building something, they are being successful, and like everyone knows that obviously there's a false pretense behind that to a certain extent, but it can get to you. Like it's got to me numerous times where I'm like, crap, like we're not getting anywhere, these people are doing this, these people are doing that, and that's when I think you also just need to step away from social media and maybe just have a digital detox for like a week and just don't look at what anyone else is doing.
Just play your own game.
Just like literally just
let other people kind of affect that.
Like obviously, I'm not saying that. I think that's just any human being has that feeling sometimes. Like you want to be happy for people, you want to not be jealous, you want to not whatever, but you will have that one moment where you're like, oh God, what am I doing, kind of thing.
Yeah, because you're pushed it so many times a day where it's like lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you're like, what are you doing though?
Exactly.
And
even if you are doing something, if you're not seeing the results, you're just like, crap, this isn't even working. Like, how do you keep going? So in that sense, I would advise, like, I need to take my own advice here as well, but just to get off social media sometimes and just to take a week out. Yeah, take a yoga session.
That's it. I think another thing that really comes to mind is obviously that sustainable finance is something that you've picked up and thought this is something I want to move forward with. What was your initial dream like when you were really young? Like what was the goal? What did you want to do? Was it the charity aspect or?
I mean, I guess like I've always been drawn to philanthropy, but I actually wanted to be a pilot when I was younger. So that was actually my childhood dream. I always wanted to be a pilot. So I took some pilot lessons, flying lessons, and then...
It's been that long, huh?
Yeah, it's been that long. But yeah, that obviously didn't work out, and then I was lucky enough to find my passion with FriendsLine, and ever since then that's kind of just been the goal, like to have as much like impact on as many lives as possible. Not me, but just the program.
What cut the pilot life dream?
Cut the pilot life. I don't think I was good enough at physics and maths, to be honest. Like, I think.
Oh, you have to actually.
Yeah, you have to be really good at maths and physics to be able to. I applied to a couple of cadetship exams as well, and I did get in. So yeah, it kind of just got like that.
So I was like, no, this isn't for you.
No, this isn't for me. But obviously, everything's meant to be. So no regrets.
So you just pick yourself up and
of
repositioned.
Course. Yeah, definitely,
Cool.
As we all do.
The last bit of the show, we just do a little quick fire round just to get a little bit more of an understanding about you.
Okay.
Some light-hearted questions. Just say the first thing that comes to mind. Okay. If you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be?
Hillary Clinton.
Why?
I just love her.
Okay. That's gonna be controversial.
Yeah, well, you know, what's life without a bit of controversy?
I like that. Okay. Your favourite music artist?
My favourite music artist? It'd have to be a Bollywood one. So, any Bollywood people that might know, Ajit Singh probably.
Okay.
Oh, actually, Frank Sinatra is my favourite artist.
Why?
Sinatra. Sinatra's amazing. You can't ask why.
I can.
No, you can't.
I've never heard that one before. Well, if you played like classical music, then
Sinatra's the best.
okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And moves on to the next one. Your theme song.
My theme song.
Yeah.
My theme song.
Yeah, like everyone's got a theme song.
I don't have a theme song.
What's your theme song right now? If you had to put something on, like you know how you put the same song on
What's
every day.
your theme song?
Oh no, right now.
Exactly. It's so hard. Theme
No, it's
song.
not
No
hard.
one has a theme song.
Everyone's got a theme song.
No one has a theme
Yeah,
song.
like gets in the groove like every day.
I definitely don't have a theme song.
I don't have like a particular one right now. Like if I just use Spotify. So.
I think we should go next question.
Next question.
Yeah.
Desert island. 3 things you take.
3 things I would take is can it be people or not? Or just things?
Things.
Things. Okay. I would take a book. Like
Which
a
one?
good book. So at the moment I'm reading a book called The Hate You Give, and it is the most amazing book. If you haven't read it, read it. It's so good.
The Hate You Give.
Yes.
Who's that by?
Angie Thomas.
Okay.
Angie Thomas, I think that's her name. But it's an amazing book. Read it. So I would take that because I've not finished it, and I would take some masala chai because you always need masala chai, and tea. So yeah, book, tea, and my third thing would probably be I don't know what my third thing would be. It's a really hard question.
It's definitely not.
My book, my chai, and
In the desert island, there's nothing there.
oh, you're in desert island, yeah, of course.
It's not just a casual yoga retreat where you've
Yeah,
got
of
lovely
course.
luxuries around you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, let me take my tea. Maybe a towel. You just need a towel sometimes, right?
So you wouldn't take any of the nice things that you got, like that you might need out there.
I guess I don't want to say my phone. That's a bit bad, isn't it? I don't
Depends how
know.
long you're out there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no interesting bad thing to say.
So you saying a book, tea, and a towel.
Yeah.
So like just a day out on the beach
Yeah.
and the tea. If you were to have a superpower, what would that be?
My superpower would be to heal.
Okay. How would you use it?
To
First
heal.
off, in what? Just anything.
Yeah, anything, anyone. Go around healing as much as I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Your favourite meal?
My favourite meal is Gujarati food.
It's not a meal.
Yeah, but I don't know how many people know Gujarati food.
Just say what your favourite meal is.
Shaka roti.
Might have to put a picture up. This is what it is.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's just vegetables and roti.
Oh, okay.
Basically, yeah. Well, actually, my other favourite food is Nutella and strawberries. Yeah, melted and can you ask this question again? Actually, I have a good response.
No, just say it now.
Okay, fine.
You're going to put all of this in.
It's melted cherries, orange, chocolate, and strawberries.
Oh, I've never tried
The
that.
best thing. Yeah.
Actually, I've tried that.
So good. I have it every
I've
night.
been through like Terry's orange, like the whole thing.
Yeah, you melt about
multiple
4
times.
pieces and then have it with strawberries. It's
Okay,
really
one
good.
was the rest just eating, wasn't it?
You just have it every day until the orange is finished.
Like one day.
Yeah.
If you could be any type of animal, what would it be?
A turtle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
They're just so cute. Turtle, for sure.
What does it signify? Is it because it signifies?
They don't care how slow they are. They're just like, they're not in a hurry. They're just
Going on.
relaxed and just, yeah. I guess not about the fast-paced life. They're just chilling and taking it as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
How do you chill out?
How do I chill out?
Yeah.
I watch Desperate Housewives and drink tea.
Solitary.
Yeah, masala chai. Yeah.
Naturally. So Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't take that instead of towel. You couldn't take like a box set of Desperate Housewives to the desert island.
Yeah, I
Might
would
need
do that. I would
instead of
love
towel.
it. Then I need a TV, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't work. Yeah.
Well, smart TV's got Netflix and all that stuff. But then you don't have internet.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
If anyone wants to follow your journey, what
Yeah.
would be how they connect with you or the socials as well?
Yeah, sure. So my FriendsLine account is for Instagram @_FriendsLine, and my personal Instagram is @Avisha Patel,
Okay.
and my email address is avisha@friendsline.org.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if there's anyone that is a social media expert, please connect with Avisha and show her your support.
This is terrible. Oh dear.
Alright, take 32.
This is why I said to you, I just don't like this question. You don't listen to
No,
me.
it has to be done. It's a good question.
Like, comment, subscribe.